Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat penny coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. If you've ever thought that the pennies lying forgotten in your change jar are worthless, think again. Because today, we're diving deep into the story of one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the rare 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. This isn't just any old penny, it's a piece of wartime history, a potential treasure, and possibly a five-figure payday waiting to be discovered. So grab a drink, settle in, and stay with us until the end, because you'll want to hear what this little coin could be worth today. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1945. World War II was coming to an end, and the United States was emerging from one of the most intense periods in modern history. Every part of American life had been touched by the war effort, including coin production. With copper in high demand for ammunition and other military supplies, the U.S. Mint had to make some big decisions about how coins were made. This led to all sorts of interesting variations in coinage, and that's where the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny comes into play. Now, technically, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny was supposed to be pretty standard. Made mostly of copper with a bit of zinc, it was part of a return to normalcy after the zinc-coated steel pennies of 1943. Over 1 billion of these coins were minted across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. So what makes this one so special? Why would anyone care about a penny from 1945 when millions of them were made? The answer lies in the details, and as any serious coin collector will tell you, the devil is in the details. So first, let's talk about the design. On the front of the coin, or the obverse, we have the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, facing to the right. This portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, has been on the penny since 1909, and the 1945 version continues the tradition with its subtle elegance and strong historical symbolism. Look closely, and you'll see the phrase, "In God We Trust," arching above Lincoln's head, with liberty to his left and the year 1945 stamped just below his shoulder. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse side, two wheat stalks curving up the edges like parentheses, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above that, the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. It's a simple but beautiful design that pays tribute to the agricultural roots of America, and it's the reason these coins are affectionately called wheat pennies. So far, it sounds like any other penny from the mid-20th century, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. Among the many 1945 pennies that were struck, a very small number ended up being something quite different. Through minting errors, metal anomalies, or simply being preserved in exceptional condition, certain 1945 wheat pennies stand out from the rest, and these are the coins that collectors go absolutely wild for. Imagine stumbling across one of these in a coin jar, completely unaware of what you're holding. Maybe the color looks slightly different. Maybe the details are unusually crisp. Maybe it has a slight doubling of the numbers or letters, known as a doubled die. Or maybe it was struck on the wrong type of metal planchet, something that shouldn't have happened, but did. These kinds of minting mistakes turn a common penny into a rare and valuable treasure, and let's not forget condition. If a 1945 wheat penny has survived for nearly 80 years in pristine, uncirculated condition, no scratches, no discoloration, no signs of wear, it becomes something much more than pocket change. It becomes a historical artifact. Collectors will pay top dollar for a coin that looks like it was minted yesterday, especially if it comes with a unique story or flaw. Now, there's something truly magical about the hunt. That thrill of digging through an old collection, going through rolls of coins, and suddenly spotting one with just the right traits. That one-in-a-million moment where you realize you might be holding a fortune in your fingers, because here's the part you've been waiting for. If you happen to find a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny that's in flawless, uncirculated condition, or one that has a rare minting error, it might not just be rare. It might be worth a small fortune. Yes, some of these rare 1945 Lincoln wheat pennies have sold at auction for as much as $105,000. Think about that. A coin that was once used to buy a stick of gum now valued at more than some cars, or even a college education. All because of its rarity, its story, and the right eyes noticing its worth. So the next time you get a handful of change or stumble upon an old coin collection, don't overlook the pennies. Especially not the wheat pennies. Because inside one of those old copper coins might be a secret just waiting to be discovered. And that secret might just change your life. Top 2 where the smallest things, like a humble penny, can hold the biggest surprises. And if you've been with us for a while, you already know that history, mystery, and money often come wrapped in copper. Today's story takes us back to the post-war glow of the late 1940s. America was rebuilding, the economy was shifting, and people were beginning to dream again. And right in the middle of that era, the US Mint was quietly producing a coin that, decades later, would capture the attention of collectors around the world, the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny. And now, most of us have handled a penny at some point. You might even remember dropping one on the sidewalk or ignoring one at the bottom of your pocket. But what if I told you that one of those small, forgotten coins, specifically from the year 1949, might be worth a life-changing amount of money? Let's set the scene. The year is 1949. Harry S. Truman is in the White House. The Cold War is starting to take shape. American life is shifting from war mode to peacetime prosperity. And in the middle of it all, the US Mint is doing what it always does, producing coins to keep the economy running. But sometimes, what seems ordinary becomes anything but. The Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in circulation since 1909, introduced on the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin featured a profile of Lincoln on the front, a historic choice, as it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. And on the back? 2 simple wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum. The 1949 version of the wheat penny might look like many others from the outside. It was struck at 3 mints, Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, with a D, and San Francisco, with an S. All 3 produced millions of coins that year, but here's the catch: not all 1949 pennies are created equal. Some were struck with higher detail, some were made with unexpected alloys, and some, believe it or not, contain subtle errors that make them rare collectibles today. Imagine holding a coin that slipped through the cracks of quality control in 1949. Maybe a doubled die error. Maybe an off-center strike. Maybe it was minted on a leftover steel blank from earlier years. These types of anomalies turn an everyday coin into something that makes collectors' hearts race, but rarity isn't the only thing that makes the 1949 wheat penny fascinating. Condition is everything. Most pennies from that era were heavily circulated. They bought groceries, paid bus fares, ended up lost in couch cushions or buried in dusty piggy banks. That's why finding one in near-perfect, uncirculated condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. A coin that survived for over 70 years without a single nick, scratch, or smudge? That's the kind of find that gets experts and auction houses talking, and it's not just experts, hobbyists, estate sale hunters, and even everyday people have stumbled upon rare wheat pennies tucked inside inherited collections or old coffee tins. There's something magical about that moment of discovery, when you realize that a coin you've held 1,000 times before might actually be something worth far more than face value. So, how can you tell if your 1949 penny is one of the rare ones? First, look at the mint mark. A coin from San Francisco or Denver could carry more value depending on how many were produced that year. Then, examine the coin carefully for errors. Look closely at the date and the lettering. Doubling? Misalignments? Anything unusual? That's a clue. Finally, judge the condition. If your coin has sharp detail, strong luster, and no wear, you might be looking at a premium specimen. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for, the reason we're all here. Because while most 1949 Lincoln Wheat pennies are worth a few cents or maybe a few dollars in nice condition, there are exceptions. Rare errors. Flawless uncirculated examples. Coins with unusual metal content or minting quirks that make them stand out from the crowd, and those rare versions of the 1949 Lincoln Wheat penny? They've been known to sell for as much as $98,000, yes, you heard that right. Something once spent without a second thought could now be worth nearly $100,000. So the next time you see a jar of old coins, don't walk past it. Pick up that penny. Turn it over. Look closer. Because one day, your smallest coin might just turn out to be your biggest treasure. If you loved this video and want to keep diving into the world of rare coins and hidden money, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a discovery. We've got so many more stories to tell, and who knows, the next coin we uncover might be sitting in your pocket right now. Top 3. We're about to unlock the secrets of a coin that many people overlook, a coin that might be hiding in an old drawer or forgotten penny jar. We're talking about the 1954 D Lincoln Wheat penny, a coin that could be worth far more than its humble appearance suggests. Now, before you dismiss it as just another penny from the past, let me ask you something. What if a simple coin in your pocket had the power to change your life? That's not just clickbait, it's the reality for a few lucky collectors who stumbled upon one of the rarest and most sought-after variations of this little copper coin. And by the end of this video, you'll find out just how much one of these elusive gems could be worth today. Let's take a trip back to the year 1954. America was in the middle of a cultural and economic boom. Elvis Presley was just about to shake up the music scene, televisions were lighting up living rooms, and optimism was everywhere. But behind the scenes, in the busy halls of the Denver Mint, something much quieter was happening. Millions of pennies were being struck. Among them, the 1954 D Lincoln Wheat penny. At first glance, the 1954 D penny looks like any other mid-century coin. You've got Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the front, with "In God We Trust" above him, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1954 right beside the bold little D, standing for the Denver Mint. Flip it over, and you see the classic wheat stalks flanking 1 cent and United States of America, with E Pluribus Unum perched above. It's a design that had already been in use for decades, but that doesn't mean every coin was created equal. In fact, some of the most ordinary-looking coins turn out to be the rarest of all, because the difference lies in the details. You see, while the Denver Mint produced tens of millions of these coins in 1954, only a small number have survived the decades in exceptional condition. Fewer still have the unique qualities that turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. What makes one of these coins so valuable? It could be a few things. First, condition is everything. Most 1954 D Wheat pennies have been through it all, scratched, worn, and passed through countless hands. But a flawless, uncirculated version? That's a whole different story. One that shines like the day it was minted, with every line, letter, and detail perfectly preserved. These coins are rare because almost none have survived like that. Then, there's the question of mint errors. The US Mint has always aimed for precision, but no system is perfect. Sometimes, coins are struck off-center. Sometimes, you get doubled dies, where parts of the design appear twice. Other times, the coin might have been minted on the wrong metal blank entirely. These mistake coins are incredibly valuable because they're so unique. No two are exactly alike, and serious collectors are willing to pay serious money for them. Now let's say you're looking through an old coin album, or maybe you're sorting through a jar of loose change passed down from your grandparents. Suddenly, a 1954 D penny catches your eye. It looks sharp. Really sharp. The details are crisp, the luster is bright, and everything about it feels different. That's when the excitement kicks in. Because at that moment, you might be holding one of the rarest coins of its kind. Of course, not every 1954 D Wheat penny is going to make you rich. But every once in a while, a coin surfaces that checks every box: perfect condition, rare mint error, historical significance, and that's when things get interesting. That's when what once cost a single cent suddenly becomes a headline-making piece of American history, and that's not just a collector's fantasy. It's happened before, and it could happen again, because a rare and pristine 1954 D Lincoln Wheat penny, especially one with an unusual error or struck in exceptional condition, has been known to sell for as much as $93,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, one that most people wouldn't look twice at, can be worth nearly $100,000 if it's the right one. So next time you come across a penny, don't toss it aside. Take a closer look. You never know what might be hidden in plain sight. That small copper coin could be a ticket to something big. If you loved this video and want to explore more amazing coin discoveries, lost treasures, and hidden gems from the world of numismatics, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a moment of the hunt. Top 4. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 1950 D Lincoln Wheat penny, a coin that looks modest but could secretly be worth a small fortune. So, if you've got an old coin jar tucked away in the closet, you're going to want to check it after this. Because that little copper coin from decades ago might be a whole lot more valuable than you think. Let's take a trip back to 1950. The United States was entering a new chapter. World War II had ended just 5 years earlier, and the country was enjoying post-war growth and prosperity. The baby boom was underway, television sets were becoming a household staple, and American life was evolving fast. And amid all of that progress, the Denver Mint was busy producing millions of pennies to keep the economy moving. One of those coins, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny, would go on to capture the attention of collectors around the world. At first glance, this penny seems just like any other. You've got Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, the trusted image created by Victor David Brenner that had already been in use for over 40 years. Surrounding Lincoln's face are the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1950 to the right, followed by the small but important D mint mark, signifying it was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse side, you'll find the classic wheat ears design, two curved stalks of wheat framing the phrases 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum overhead. It's a simple, timeless design that reminds us of America's agricultural roots and the strength of unity, but don't let the simplicity fool you. Not every 1950 wheat penny is created equal. Most of the pennies from that year were spent, saved, or lost without a second thought. They were used in vending machines, dropped on sidewalks, or stashed in piggy banks. And over time, they became just another part of the background noise of everyday life. But here's the twist, not all of them stayed ordinary. A small number of 1950 Lincoln Wheat pennies have something extra. It could be a minting error, a unique variation, or an extraordinary state of preservation. And it's those rare differences that can turn this 1-cent coin into a star of the coin collecting world. Let's talk about what makes these coins stand out. First, there's the possibility of mint errors. These are unintentional mistakes that occurred during production, and they're like hidden fingerprints of the minting process. You might see a doubled die, where part of the design is duplicated slightly. Or maybe the coin was struck off-center, or even made from the wrong type of metal planchet. These errors weren't supposed to happen, and that's exactly what makes them so valuable. Each one is unique, and collectors love coins that break the mold. Then there's the condition. This is where things get even more interesting. Most 1950 pennies have seen better days, scratched, tarnished, and worn down after decades of use. But a coin that has survived in mint state condition? That's incredibly rare. These are coins that were never circulated. Maybe they were part of a roll that sat untouched in a drawer, or preserved by a collector from the very beginning. Whatever the reason, coins like this still shine with their original luster, and every detail, every line, every letter is perfectly crisp, and that's the kind of coin that can truly make headlines. Imagine this. You're sorting through an inherited coin collection. Or maybe you're casually flipping through a roll of old pennies from the bank, not expecting much. Then suddenly, one coin catches your eye. It looks different. It feels untouched. And that little D under the 1950? It's staring right back at you. At that moment, you could be holding something extraordinary, because once you combine rarity, condition, and the possibility of a mint error, the value skyrockets. And while millions of 1950 pennies were minted, only a tiny number check all the boxes that collectors are looking for. That's what makes them so desirable, and that's what makes them so valuable. So, what's the big reveal? How much could one of these copper beauties actually be worth? Well, brace yourself. Because a rare, mint condition 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny, especially one with a known minting error, has sold for as much as $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. $95,000. All for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent. It's a reminder that hidden treasures are everywhere. Sometimes they're buried underground, and sometimes they're sitting in a dusty jar right in your own home. So don't ignore those old coins. Look closely. Examine the details. Because you never know, your next big discovery could be as small as a penny. If you enjoyed this journey through coin history, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world of rare coins, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a chance to learn something new or find something valuable. Top 5. We're uncovering the incredible story of the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny. It might look ordinary, just another old penny, but hidden among the millions produced that year are a few special coins worth far more than 1 cent. And when we say valuable, we mean life-changing. This isn't just a lesson in history. It's a journey into a piece of Americana, a mystery wrapped in copper, and a secret waiting to be discovered, maybe even by you. Let's rewind the clock to 1957. The United States was booming. The post-war economy was thriving, Elvis Presley was climbing the charts, the space race was heating up, and optimism filled the air. And during that same exciting year, the U.S. Mint was hard at work, producing millions of coins for everyday use, including the humble Lincoln Wheat penny. Now, the Lincoln Wheat penny was already a familiar sight. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, the coins designed by Victor David Brenner became iconic. On the front, you'll find Lincoln's profile, with "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to his left, and the date 1957 to the right. Depending on the mint, it might also have a small D beneath the date, indicating it was struck in Denver. Or flip the coin over and you'll see the classic wheat ear reverse. Two stylized stalks of wheat arch up along the edges, encasing the bold words 1 cent and United States of America. Above that, the Latin phrase E pluribus unum reminds us of unity from diversity. It's a simple design, but one that holds powerful meaning and has become a favorite among collectors. But here's where things get interesting. While the 1957 wheat penny is one of the more commonly produced coins of the 1950s, a tiny number of them stand out in very big ways. That's because in the world of coin collecting, rarity isn't just about how many were made, it's about how many remain in perfect condition, how many have unusual features, and how many hold secrets from the minting process. Let's start with condition. Millions of these pennies were minted, yes, but most were spent, worn, tossed in pockets, dropped on sidewalks, and forgotten. Only a very small number escaped circulation entirely, preserved in mint condition as if frozen in time. These are the coins that collectors crave. Uncirculated, untouched, gleaming with their original luster, these perfect specimens are almost impossible to find, but that's not all. Some 1957 wheat pennies are even more special, thanks to something completely unintentional: mint errors. These rare mistakes during the production process, like doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or coin struck on the wrong type of planchet, make a coin instantly more valuable. Why? Because they're incredibly rare and each one is a unique part of minting history. No two are exactly alike, and when the right error meets the right condition, that's when collectors are willing to pay serious money. Picture this: you're sorting through a jar of old change passed down from your grandparents. You're not expecting much. A few nickels here, a few quarters there. Then suddenly, you spot a wheat penny. The date reads 1957. You hold it up to the light. It looks different. Sharper. Brighter. Maybe even a little perfect. Could it be it's in moments like that where everything changes? Because it's not just a coin anymore. It's a possibility. A chance. A hidden gem in plain sight, and these possibilities aren't just fantasy. They've turned into real-life treasure for a lucky few. Whether discovered in an estate sale, a flea market, or an old coin roll from the bank, rare 1957 wheat pennies have popped up in unexpected places, and when they do, collectors go wild. Of course, most of these coins will be worth a few cents or maybe a few dollars in decent condition. But the true stars? The flawless ones? The rare errors? They belong in a completely different category. They're not just coins, they're prized artifacts of American history, preserved in copper, waiting to be found. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much could one of these rare 1957 Lincoln wheat pennies be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially with a rare and verified mint error, your single 1-cent coin could be worth as much as $90,000. Yes, you heard that right. $90,000. From pocket change to a down payment on a house. That's the kind of hidden value that keeps collectors searching, that keeps treasure hunters hopeful, and that might just make you look twice at your next handful of coins. So go ahead, check your jars, your drawers, those old boxes in the attic. Because one of the most valuable pennies in the world might already be in your hands. If you found this story fascinating, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin tales, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the search. There are more coins to uncover, more stories to tell, and maybe, just maybe, your next big find is coming soon. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting.